Spider-Man's greatest strength isn't just his web-slinging or his quick wit, it's his humanity. His villains, especially the original Sinister Six, are more than adversaries. They are mirrors to Peter Parker's inner psyche, embodying his fears, temptations, and the darker paths he might take. Today, we'll explore how each member of the Sinister Six fits into Carl Jung's archetypal framework and what they reveal about Spider-Man himself. Welcome to Unmasked. Carl Jung believed archetypes are universal symbols that emerge from the collective unconscious, shaping how we think, feel, and behave. Spider-Man's villains don't just represent physical challenges. They embody archetypes that reflect different facets of Peter Parker's mind. By examining these villains, we can see Spider-Man's constant struggle to reconcile power, responsibility, and humanity. Let's unravel this web of archetypes, starting with the leader of the Sinister Six, Dr. Octopus. Dr. Otto Octavius, or Dr. Octopus, is the quintessential corrupted mentor. A brilliant scientist, Otto reflects Peter's own aspirations, a man driven by a desire to use intellect to better the world. But when ambition turns to obsession, Otto's genius becomes a weapon of destruction. Doc Ock's mechanical arms symbolize Peter's fear of losing control to his own power. Just as Otto succumbs to the whispers of his creations, Peter must constantly resist letting his abilities define him. The mentor role that Otto once filled becomes a cautionary tale, warning Peter of the dangers of letting intellect overshadow empathy and responsibility. Through Otto, Peter confronts the potential cost of his own brilliance, isolation, arrogance, and the risk of losing his humanity. Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, represents the shadow of resentment and aging. Once a respected engineer, Adrian's life is upended by betrayal, leaving him consumed by bitterness. His transformation into the Vulture isn't just physical, it's psychological, driven by his refusal to let go of the past. Toomes mirrors Peter's own fear of failure and irrelevance. As Spider-Man, Peter struggles with the weight of his youth and relentless demands of heroism. Vulture's obsession with reclaiming power forces Peter to confront the idea that time and failure are inevitable, and that clinging to the past can be as destructive as running from it. While Adrian succumbs to his shadow, Spider-Man resists it, finding strength in adapting rather than fighting against time. Quentin Beck, known as Mysterio, is a master of illusion. A failed Hollywood effects artist, he reinvents himself as a villain who manipulates reality itself. His trickster archetype challenges Spider-Man to question not only the world around him, but also his own instincts and perceptions. Mysterio's illusions prey on Peter's self-doubt, reflecting his fear that his abilities might not always be enough. Beck's greatest weapon isn't his technology. It's the psychological games he plays, forcing Peter to rely on his inner compass rather than what he sees. Through Mysterio, Peter learns that truth isn't about what's visible. It's about trusting his heart and his principles, even in the face of overwhelming deception. Craven the Hunter is a man consumed by pride and primal instinct. A renowned tracker, he views Spider-Man as the ultimate prey, a challenge that will cement his legacy. But beneath the exterior lies the shadow of unchecked aggression and dominance. Craven represents the part of Peter that wrestles with the temptation to assert dominance through power. While Peter's strength lies in his restraint, Craven's obsession with control leads to his downfall. Their encounters force Peter to reaffirm his belief that true strength is about protecting others, not proving superiority. Craven's shadow challenges Peter to recognize that heroism isn't about conquest, it's about compassion. Flint Marko, the Sandman, is a reluctant villain, a father driven to crime by desperation. His ability to transform into sand symbolized his fractured identity, constantly shifting between his humanity and his criminal actions. Sandman embodies the everyman archetype, reflecting Peter's own struggles with responsibility. Like Flint, Peter often feels torn between his obligations and his personal desires. Their battles are less about good versus evil and more about navigating the gray areas of morality and survival. Through Sandman, Peter learns that sometimes empathy can be as powerful as justice. Max Dillon, or Electro, is a man who spent his life being invisible. After gaining his powers, his transformation into a living conduit of electricity is fueled by a desperate need to be noticed and valued. Electro embodies Peter's fear of isolation and rejection. Both men know what it's like to be overlooked, but while Peter channels his struggles into heroism, Max lets bitterness consume him. Electro's destructive need for validation reminds Peter of the importance of staying true to himself, even when the world doesn't seem to care. As a surprise addition to our analysis, we must address Spider-Man's most personal and feared foe.
Now, we're one. Now, you're gonna pay. From now on, we're poison to you, Spider-Man. That's why we call ourselves Venom.
Venom. Unlike the rest of the Sinister Six, Venom wasn't part of their original roster, but his impact on Spider-Man's life and psyche is unparalleled. Let's dive into why Venom has become the most iconic villain in Spider-Man's rogues gallery. Venom's origin begins with Spider-Man himself. After Peter inadvertently bonds with the alien symbiote, he discovers that it enhances his powers but feeds off his darker impulses, his anger, arrogance, and aggression. Rejecting the symbiote, Peter unwittingly creates his greatest adversary. The symbiote finds Eddie Brock, a man consumed by resentment and failure, and together they become Venom, a twisted mirror of Spider-Man. In Jungian terms, Venom represents the ultimate shadow archetype. Unlike other villains who embody fragments of Peter's psyche, Venom is the shadow made manifest, both literally and figuratively. The symbiote knows Peter intimately, his thoughts, his emotions, and his fears. This intimate knowledge allows Venom to terrorize Spider-Man in ways no other villain can. While most of Spider-Man's villains challenge him externally, Venom attacks from within. He forces Peter to confront the part of himself he despises the most: his anger, selfishness, and his desire for revenge. Venom thrives on these repressed emotions, weaponizing them to break Peter's spirit. What makes Venom truly terrifying isn't just his physical power or his ability to evade Peter's spider sense. It's his personal vendetta. Unlike other villains, Venom doesn't seek global domination or wealth. His sole mission is to destroy Peter Parker. This relentless obsession makes Venom Spider-Man's most dangerous and emotionally devastating foe. Venom embodies the fear that no matter how hard Peter tries to be a hero, his darker side will always come back to haunt him. The symbiote's twisted bond with Peter also reflects the duality of their relationship. While Spider-Man rejected the symbiote to preserve his morality, Venom interprets this as betrayal, fueling his hatred. Venom's popularity lies in his complexity and his deeply personal connection to Spider-Man. He's not just a villain, he's a former ally, a corrupted version of the hero himself. Fans are drawn to Venom's primal, monstrous nature and his unique ability to challenge Spider-Man on both a physical and psychological level. More than any foe, Venom blurs the line between hero and villain, forcing Spider-Man and us as viewers to grapple with what it means to confront our own inner demons. He's a reminder that the fight against darkness isn't just external, it's internal. The Sinister Six, and especially Venom, aren't just villains. They're reflections of Peter Parker's fears, failures, and flaws. Each one challenges him in a unique way, forcing him to confront who he is and what he stands for. Venom, as the ultimate shadow, represents the fight we all face, the struggle to rise above our darker impulses and become the best version of ourselves. Through his battles with these archetypes, Spider-Man shows us that true heroism isn't about defeating others, it's about mastering ourselves. So which villain do you think best reflects Spider-Man's inner struggles? Let us know in the comments below and be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time.